Mini Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds.
Good old Remy.
I knew it.
Oh, Michael.
Yikes. I'd have been shocked if they really just killed off two characters. One makes more sense. Kevin just laughed somewhere.
You forcing Boone?
Getting forced
God.
Boone volunteered. Taking crazy pills.
I'll start it off early. Fuck you, John Locke.
That's the doctor from Claire's episode. At least he admits he's a fraud. She's gonna out Michael. Did she just pass? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Lost. Michael, Kevin, Kristen, and I are here to talk about Season 2, Episode 21, question mark. And this has been a huge question mark for me for a couple weeks because in terms of recording, we haven't recorded in a couple weeks. So I had to wait on the cliffhanger of what Michael did for 2 freaking weeks.
Listen,
poetry.
we wanted to torture you like we were all tortured, okay? So
Yeah.
taste your own medicine. Haha.
There were times we had to wait months, Jake.
I
Months.
want to give you the full Lost experience.
Yeah. It was just wild. So, but yeah, let's get into it. I mean, what do you guys have? Kristen, you have some interesting tidbits.
I do. So this episode is the first time that we get one of our castaways, our crash survivors, mention our hatch by name. So Eko brings up that it is called the Swan Station. So our hatch is called the Swan. We obviously get a new hatch in this episode called the Pearl. So we're getting a couple names. From everybody's fun facts, this is a lot of people question if the lines mean anything. It's just the logo, and then they put the actual thing in the logo. So the lines don't mean anything. They're just a design. It's fine. Anyway, the other one is a foreshadowing moment that you now know if you've watched the episode, is when Eko is walking away to go explore where Locke is saying, don't go, it's dangerous. He walks away with a limp because, as we all know, he was actually John Locke. So he is limping because John Locke has a limp in that moment. So it was a foreshadowing moment that, like, you don't know if you're watching this for the first time. So you're just like, why is he walking away with a limp? But that is why, because he was actually John Locke. And we have our famous numbers. The timer on the clock when they're all, like, first helping Libby says 88, so 88 obviously. Eko's fake passport has 15, 16, 23 on it, and all of the timestamps from the log printout that they printed out start with 416. So
I did see that. I was like, yep, there's all the numbers.
yeah, so that's all I've got. That's all I got for fun facts.
Nice.
Did this air on 416? That'd be funny.
No, actually, I read something. I don't know if they meant filming or if it aired. I don't think it would have aired, but they mentioned that all of this happened on Thanksgiving Day.
Okay.
So but because it wouldn't have made sense for it to air on Thanksgiving Day, but maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up quickly. You keep going.
Yeah. Let's get into it, Kristen.
Yeah, well, I mean, kicking us off right off the bat, obviously this is the we were just left with a cliffhanger. A cliffhanger that you mentioned, Jake, was pretty much torture for you, but you're welcome. But with that, we kind of are now getting the aftermath. But instead of just kind of jumping right in, we see Eko right off the bat. Shirtless Eko, not as great as shirtless Sawyer, but we'll accept. And he is chopping away. And we have a visit from Ana Lucia herself. She's saying, hey, what's going on? How have you been? And he's like, hey, Anna, how's it going? She's like, what are you doing? He's like, building a church. Oh, what are you doing? And she's like, well, why are you building that? And he's like, I was told to in a dream. And she's like, a dream much like this one? And it's like, oh, man, they got us right off the bat. This isn't a little flashback, nothing. This is him dreaming. And in this dream, we see that she's obviously been shot. And she says, you need to help John. In a continuation from this, we get Eko into the hatch now, where he is visited by Mike. I was so gonna do it just to like see if you did it, but I ruined it. I ruined my own setup. But yes, from Yemi, he was there with Yemi. I wanted to like screw it up on purpose to see like having make fun of me, but then I messed up my own like. Anyway, moving on. We're fine. But he is visited by his brother, and his brother also has the same message. This hatch is important. You need to help John. And he said, tell him take you to the question mark. And he's like, what? Okay. Wakes up in a whole panic here. Charlie's like, bro, you good? Like, what's happening? Also love that they're like camping out together under the like whatever the makes of this building church is going to be. And he was told also to bring the axe. So he wakes up, sees the axe, and takes off. I love that this foursome that we have, because of what they had just realized, that Ana Lucia had the gun. Jack, Kate, Sawyer, and Locke all take off. Two will go back to the hatch. Everybody is arguing with everybody. No one is safe in this group at this point. Jack's yelling at Sawyer. Kate's sticking up for Sawyer. Then he's yelling about Anna. Then yelling about Locke. They're all yelling at each other. They do not care. They're all pissed off because they all basically got one-overed on one another at this point. As they approach the hatch, Michael comes running out. And he has a very interesting story. So I kind of want to stop here because, Jake, I kind of want to get your impressions, because obviously at the end of that last episode, you being a Michael, like a fan of Michael, was like, oh my God, what did Michael do? And now we're getting this story from Michael that Henry has escaped and he heard gunshots and he came out and he was shot and he ran off and he escaped. So I want to stop you here and get your kind of impressions of this opening. What were your thoughts here?
Yeah, well, so the dream sequence, first of all, I'm like, okay, it has to be a dream because Anna just showed up and we just saw her get shot. So like I knew that was some sort of vision that was going on with Eko, and then obviously him seeing Yemi. I mean, I find this fascinating. We'll get to it again later, but like now we're just continuously seeing like characters that are related to other characters pop up on the island. We've had Yemi, we have Christian Shepherd earlier in the show, we've had Dave, Hurley's imaginary friend. Like we've had all these characters just show up, and so like it's interesting because we're not sure what's going on still with that. But yeah, the whole thing when they get to the hatch and Michael just like bursts out, and obviously we see Henry is gone. So clearly part of it is that he's framing Henry for shooting, you know, him and Ana Lucia and Libby. And that's his like alibi, which works for the moment. But well, because nobody's gonna think that Michael would do something like this. But
you weren't even prepared for Michael to do something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't, but
we weren't in 2006 either.
We weren't either. Don't feel bad. We weren't either.
This was the original Red Wedding.
Right, it was. This was the original Red Wedding.
But it was just like, it's just wild to me to just have this new side of Michael that is sadistic and like okay with just like we just don't know what this is for, what's going on. So I just really want some answers, but I obviously couldn't look at Michael the same way at this point. So
yeah, it's hard to go back after something like this.
Well, when you shoot two people in cold blood, it's tough to come back from.
It's hard to come back from that.
Just in case the Game of Thrones people get mad at me, I'm aware the books came before Lost. I know the Red Wedding came first, but They can
Right,
be
we're talking about
cruel
on.
people.
We're talking about on.
Yeah,
screen.
I know. I do love when Eko wakes up and he's been told to grab the axe, and he grabs the axe and says, "I'm going to find John Locke." And I think there's probably in the back of Charlie's mind, Charlie's like, "Hell yeah!" He wakes up in the middle of the night, grabs an axe, and he's going to find Locke. That's my least favorite person on the island. He's gonna go kill him.
He's probably like, "Yay!"
Exactly.
And poor Henry. Henry did nothing wrong, and now he's been blamed for all of this. This episode gets a bit of a down though because there was no Henry.
Right.
Poor Henry.
I know. I like.
Go ahead.
Well, Michael's going to say poor Locke later on in the episode. We know that.
I will not
Yeah.
be sharing in that sentiment.
It's a fascinating Locke episode. I can't wait.
No,
Kevin, anything from you before I continue?
no, I just remember like, and especially even more this time because I kind of knew what was coming, but like just watching for Michael to like make a mistake, like say something you're not supposed to say, get caught, and like he was good.
He is
Yeah.
good. Like, surprisingly, he's just a construction worker. He's not a cold-blooded killer. He does a really good job of selling it as, like, really believably.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
I also like to think about. I mean, he did just shoot himself in the arm. He's obviously bleeding, so like he's
Yeah.
losing blood. So it's got to be painful. So for him to like be as sharp as he is, like I know me, I'd be like, this really hurts. I totally
Right.
forgot what we're talking about right now. Like, yeah, crazy. We do see that as he ran out and started explaining all this, Jack had sent in Sawyer and Kate and Locke, and they come to see this aftermath of what has unfolded. And man, can you imagine the sight that they are about to see? It's just something like, what just happened here? Like, we've all been like playing house and living great. Like, you know, Bernard and Rose are arguing about
Playing hatch, not playing house, playing hatch.
well, that too. But now we've got a very serious situation here. This is a very serious situation. Jack brings Michael in, and he's now seeing this for the first time. We see that Kate has checked on Ana Lucia, and she has confirmed that she is dead. Sawyer went over to tend to Libby. He is also assuming that she is dead, but she coughs blood all over him. Gross. But like also what? Okay, Libby is not dead now. We've okay. Let's find out. Let's find out if Michael's gonna be able to come out of this one, which we're gonna talk about later. But
the look on Michael's face is so funny.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna, he's like,
Oh, shit.
exactly. He's like, not a plan that I had happening here.
I thought it was going to be like Scream 4, where he's going to find out that Libby's alive, and then he's going to go in and try to kill her,
Right.
like Jill did with Sydney. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, if he would have done that, then there's really no coming back after that one.
Right.
One and done, Michael. But no, so we do see that now after we found out that Libby is alive, not doing well, but alive, Jack obviously starts to tend to her. He's telling Kate, put the pressure on this. I got to come up with a plan, all these things. But he does go out and he starts to question Michael, which is kind of where I was with Kevin of like, oh, please screw up here. But he's drilling him, almost like he is kind of angry at Michael, like he would have known something, but obviously they don't. But he's like, how long is it go? Like, how long did he go? And he's like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. Like, he's like, okay, we got to get it tracking on him. We got to find him. We're going to do all this. And Eko comes in right off the bat and he goes, I can go search for him because we know that he has a whole nother mission. Sorry, Ana Lucia and Libby, we hung out all these times, but I don't care about you guys right now. I have a mission with John. But he uses the John, you have some some skills in the tracking department, and you're going to come with me. If I was Locke, I'd be like, I'm on crutches, but okay, sure, let's go. So they do take off to go after Henry to find a trail because obviously Jack, everybody wants justice for this insane killing that has just happened. Which leads us into our first flashback of Eko as a priest. And I love that he is so like, tell me your sins, whatever, next. Like, he's so not into this whole priest thing. But we find out very quickly that this isn't just a regular confessional. He's being extorted a little bit by the guy that gave him this fake paperwork. But he is quickly approached by his Monsignor, and he's like, we have a miracle. We got to discuss this. We get to this lady in the church, obviously, and she's talking about how her daughter had drowned, but then she woke up and she's alive, and it's a miracle, and the world should know. We got to tell the Pope. We got to tell the Vatican. We got to tell them. And they're like, that's not how this works, lady. If everybody did this, they'd be like, everybody's saying that. But I will let Eko, but Eko's not his name, investigate this for you. And that's kind of where we're left off because Eko's like, I was supposed to go to the US, but okay, I guess I'm doing this now. And so with that, I'm going to leave off here, Jake, just to get your thoughts on this Eko being a fake priest moment. And what are your thoughts about Eko what were your thoughts watching of Eko being like, Locke, we're taking off?
Yeah, so this whole thing of getting Locke on board, I could already tell this was going to be an interesting pairing going off together. And then I loved it being another Eko episode, and kind of directly carrying off from where his last episode left off, where he accepted the position as the priest, even though it's like a fake role for him. So, yeah, I actually thought too, when like it was revealed to like the whole miracle storyline, for a moment, I kind of thought, okay, is this going to tie into the story? Like, because I mean, we've already seen Libby is now not dead. Is that going to tie into, okay, Libby is going to somehow live through this and she is actually going to out Michael? That's kind of where I thought the story was going from that. Obviously she tried, but we'll get there later. But no, that's where I thought the story was going from this. And I'm excited to get into the Locke and Eko stuff because it's really, really funny.
So I never thought about that. That's so true. That would have been a good like way to tie the episode together. I like that, but yeah, didn't go that way, but it would have been good. No. I got to rag on Jack a little bit. I'm sorry, Kevin. But once again, this is a moment of Jack just not having his priorities straight. Like Libby is, I love Jack. You know I love Jack. Libby is lying there with 2 gunshot wounds in her. She's coughing up blood, and Jack's like, we gotta go track Henry. It's like, Kate's like, Jack, no, you're the doctor. You need to focus. But his first instinct still is like, no, we gotta go track Henry. It's like, no, Jack, you're the doctor. Let them do it. He does get talked down, but it's very interesting to me that his first instinct always is like, I gotta go do this, when it's very clear where his priority should be in that moment.
I would like to point out you gave Kate credit for that, and that was not Kate, that was Sawyer. So thank you.
I remembered it as Kate.
Well, let's remember it as who it was. It was Sawyer. I'm giving my man credit where he gets credit due, because he is about to get his ass handed to him, which is happening here very shortly.
No, the only thing here was I thought it was interesting that we once again see a character who didn't have to be on flight 815. Like, once again, like, this is somebody who could have been on a different flight, and something happens and they get pushed to this flight. So just an interesting
tidbit.
Interesting thing to note.
Yeah, for sure.
I do love the horrors of what's going on in the hatch. Like when they all come in, like we talked about how crazy that cliffhanger was, and like the continuation of that, and seeing like just 2 bodies on the floor, there's blood everywhere. Like, it's crazy. It's such a crazy scene.
Well, and that's kind of why I brought it up, is like, again, like, I mean, Kevin made the joke of like the plane hatch, but like, yeah, they haven't, I mean, since Boone, they've really not had anything. Yes, Sawyer came back from being with the tailies, and what, calm down.
Your favorite episode.
I'm getting
what about
there.
Poor Shannon?
Listen,
what about Poor Shannon?
That's not tragic. So, I mean, I didn't forget it. It's just not tragic. Anyway, but like we haven't really seen like major like things other than like Sawyer came back, he had the gunshot, but that wasn't like that what didn't happen to them. This is direct hit on them, right? Like for them to come in and be like, well, damn, we were just using this to take showers and press a button every now and then, and now we've got a whole murder scene. It's like I can't imagine just them walking into just the reality of like, oh man, we got a big old problem here. Like, but also not even that, but being extremely sad. Like we're gonna the ending. We're gonna get to that ending is so phenomenal, but like all of the emotions hitting them too. So like, yeah, so good.
Also like guilt. Like we know that Henry didn't do this, but they've kept this guy that they know it's dangerous. They've had experience with the others. They've kept him locked in this hatch, and now they come into this scene like they shouldn't have been playing around with this stuff. Just he's another. Let's just take him out, and maybe this could have all been avoided. We know it was Michael, but yeah, it's like this could have been avoided. Just shoot Henry in the head.
Well, I mean, even if they had shot him, even though it was Michael, like maybe things play out differently, because maybe they don't want to free him because he's already dead.
Should have gone for the head.
Right. Always shoot him in the head. And with that, moving on, we do see that Eko and John are out searching. Eko is like on a whole lot. He doesn't necessarily need John anymore because he's leading John, because John should be leading him if they were actually tracking. But Locke points this out. He's like, what are you seeing that I'm not? Because I haven't seen anything in a good hot minute. Also, I have to bring this up. We've mentioned this before about the others, of how they don't leave a trace or anything. And it's like, again, they just like up and vanish. It's like, where's your trail, Henry? Like, how did you just like vanish into thin air? There's nothing. Right. But we do see that there is no trace of anything. And Locke starts calling him out, to which Eko comes right back to him and goes, where's the question mark? And Locke's like, question mark? What are you talking about? Don't know what you're talking about. He's like, okay, we're playing this game. Where's the freaking question mark? And they kind of have this battle back and forth where Kevin, I'm sure, is going to have a good rant of how Locke always wants to keep things to himself. And Eko's like, I'm not putting up with your bullshit. I need to know. Let's go. And we're going to work together. We're after the same common ground here. So let's knock this little kid shit off and let's work together. Which leads us into our next flashback, where Eko is now questioning the mortician. We're going to really get to this like tape here in a second, because he's questioning the mortician and he's like, so when did you like walk me through this? And he's like, I realized she wasn't dead when I was in the middle of the autopsy. And Eko's like, oh, we just took a turn. I thought this was a little different here. What's happening? And this mortician plays the cassette tape. Okay, can we also give props to whoever was in charge of the screaming on that recording? Because terrifying.
Chilling. Yeah. It's really chilling.
So it does, even just watching, I'm like, oh my gosh. But then thinking the feelings, and whoever plays the mortician's like, here, have the cassette. I never want to listen to that again. Because can you imagine you're about to like saw this girl up and she wakes up screaming? No, thank you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I know Kevin's going to probably go on a rant, so I'll just stop here. I was going to continue, but I'll let it.
No. I have no rant here. No, it was very. I love anybody who basically tells John Locke, "Shut up! I don't want to hear your excuses." Other Thank you, Eko. Just like speaking for me in 20 years in the past. I love it. No, the other thing is that like long before this episode, I had heard of this where like especially kids like in freezing cold water will like appear to have drowned. They'll be underwater for a half an hour, but because the water is so cold, they're able to be brought back to life. It's not like a super common thing, but it is a thing that has happened. So the whole episode, I was like, "Is this real? Did this really happen?" And like this tape, I was like, "That tape could be faked, but like that could have really happened." But like, why would they be performing the autopsy right away? But like the whole time I wasn't sure. So
I also question things here too, Kevin, because why like autopsies are typically done to find the cause of death, and we already know what the cause of death is. So that was like one of the like question marks that I had, not to like pun intended there. But that was another thing that I too was like, when I'm watching this, I'm like, why are we doing all these things? It seems a little weird to me, but yeah.
I just talk about the red flag I had of like never date a mortician. There's that really weird moment where he plays the tape, and like in the tape, just as he's about to do the autopsy, he's like, the note's being prepared by the lovely nurse, whoever.
Like,
it's like, you're hitting on her now?
Yes.
You got a dead body on the table. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It is weird. Jake, anything from you?
I mean, just weird, and again, not unusual for Lost to have weird characters in flashbacks. So,
yeah, you cannot make them much
I will defend Locke. I will defend Locke.
What? I'm shocked. You what? Never heard
like,
such a thing.
I've always said like Locke ain't perfect, but he admits his failures here. He does say to Eko, like, if I'd have just told Jack about what happened with Anna, like this could have been avoided. And he's like confused about how Eko knows all this stuff, and he holds it back a little bit. But then he's like, you know what, screw it, just have it. Like he you do see this is a big episode for kind of a growth and the change in the mindset of Locke, and this like he's just done with all this stuff at this point.
But part of the reason he does that is because Eko is there to be like, I'm not dealing with your bullshit.
He needs
I
a
know
little
you know.
push.
I know you know. So just tell me. Like, and it's fabulous.
I also love that it's like, are you real? Like, come on, it's Eko. Like, you're not gonna hold back. I would be like terrified. Be like, here you go, it's yours. I don't care. Don't do anything
Right.
mean to me. He's terrifying. He's a terrifying man.
Right.
But yeah. All right, moving on. I love that instantly we go back to, after this flashback, we have Eko and Locke continuing on their journey. But Eko was very quick to bring up that he's like, your landmarks are wrong. And Locke's like, gee, don't say. I don't. Okay.
Oh, the line about what is this squiggly line? Is it a river? And he's like, it's a squiggly line.
Squiggly line, yeah. It's so funny. But he's like, I don't even know if it's a map. And he's like, well, let's just pretend it's a map. Like, I love that Eko's just like, he's like, I don't care. We're running
He's
with
the
this.
new Locke.
Yeah, it's funny. When
Don't do that to Eko.
It
Just the same character. All the things you hate about Locke is exactly what Eko is doing now.
It's just amusing to me that Eko is just, he's like having this like, we're going with my plan, whatever it is. Like, I don't care. We're going to go by the squiggly line. And Locke's like, that's a little crazy. Like, Locke wasn't doing that like 5 episodes earlier.
Yeah.
To be on Michael's side a little bit there, Kevin. Anyway, moving on. They get led right to, look, he just had an epiphany. He's like, oh, crap.
No,
Anyway,
I'm like, what are you talking about?
that does
Their
lead us.
characters are different. They do similar things, but they're different motivations and totally different.
We're gonna. This will be fun. I think I might be on Michael's side here for the first time ever. So stay tuned for that.
You just it's fine.
This is leading them right back to the Nigerian plain, this place that we've seen several times now. Listen, this is where I will be on Kevin's side, because Locke decides to have the stupidest line of all time to say that Boone's death is a sacrifice the island demanded. I will start it earlier.
Again. Says it again.
Can I just briefly hit on that? Because he says that line very differently.
He does.
He says that line with this newfound inner doubt and like, how stupid was I? That is the line he's saying. I was an idiot. It's a sacrifice the island demanded. Like, I was so wrong. This is a different side of Locke of being like that. The old me was dumb in that moment. It's sarcasm.
I do think it's sarcastic, but I don't think it's that far. I don't think it's
I
completely
get what you're
realizing he's wrong.
saying, but most people don't say dumb comments like that more than once. Don't
Yeah.
He's repeating his own comment and being like, what an idiot.
That's very fair, but
I don't think he had fully admitted to himself that he was an idiot. I think he was starting to question it. Like, like I said this line. Not I was an idiot, but like, I wonder if I was wrong. And I think that that's an important difference.
Yeah.
I love to just point
You
out.
say by the end, like, this is a moment of Locke being like, he was wrong. Like, I think this is such a fascinating Locke episode. I love it because this is like the pure doubt of Locke and realizing he has made mistakes. I think that's a great Locke episode for that.
yeah.
We're gonna get a lot much more into that. What were you saying, Jake? Sorry, I didn't mean.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I think it's fascinating as we get in and we have Eko climbing up this like that tree, and having the parallels with what happened to Boone, and like, you know, Locke being at the bottom, being like, be careful, and like, it's just very interesting to draw the exact parallels between this and I believe like almost exactly the same number episode in season 1. So it's pretty crazy.
Quite possibly, yeah. It was in the
Yeah,
It was 19 or 20, yeah. So it was like maybe 2 episodes off, 1 or 2, but
yeah, it's very. If not the exact, it's very close in the same time frame of the season.
I didn't think about that, Jake. That's a good point.
Can you imagine if Eko had fell and Locke had to bring another body to Jack that has fallen off the same cliff and being like, "It happened again, Jack. I'm sorry."
Listen, I mean this with no malice towards John Locke with this comment, but he can carry Boone. He can't carry Eko.
no.
Boone,
But also,
Boone's a little
like,
twink.
can you imagine the whole like storyline of we were out hunting boar again? Sorry. Oh my
Fell
god.
off a cliff.
Fell off a cliff. I'm glad that you guys had me distracted from this moment that I have to bring up because my man Sawyer definitely got his ass handed to him in this episode. For a good reason, though, I will bring up that Sawyer was so amazing, awesome, because he didn't even have a second thought about it. But Jack brings up, he's like, well, Libby is not going to make it. Can only make her comfortable. And
look at the character growth in Jack admitting it.
And
because a year ago he did not.
So
he's about to cut Boone's leg off.
That's true. But yeah, he's like, it's not going to happen. I need some heroin. I need to make her feel better. But before he even brings that up, Sawyer's like, well, I already gave you all the meds. And he's like, well, I'm not talking about the meds. I need the drugs. Like, I need the drugs. And he's like, oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, be right back. And he goes, Kate's going to go with you. And he's like, well, why shouldn't he come? And even Kate's like, why? I don't have to go. He's like, well,
Catherine.
The doc here knows that I have it with the guns, and I can either show you where the stuff is to help poor sweet Libby here, or I can let her suffer because I want to keep the guns. And he's like, that about cover it? And he's like, yep, yep. such a dick move in a very serious situation, but kudos to Jack, because that was a good, like, haha, I just handed you your ass. But again, like, I'm going to bring up Sawyer again, being a very different Sawyer than we said. He does not even hesitate. He's like, come on, Kate, let's go. Like, damn it, Jack, you got me, but like I can't let Libby suffer. As they're going to the beach here. Also, do you like that this moment that it went from light to dark to light again so very quickly? Like when they found out that Anna had the gun, it was very much daylight. They show up at the hatch and it's like pitch black out, and now they're back at the beach and it's light. Love that, but makes me laugh. Anyway, with that, Kate, as I refer to as she, starts to question how Anna got to the gun. And he's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
No idea, Kate. No idea how that happened. But then they get to what I like to point out, that Sawyer's little tent here is basically a mansion compared to the rest of them on the beach here. But he's like, come on, let's get inside. And she's like, oh, I thought you were taking me to the guns. And he's like, just shut up and get the freaking tent, Kate. And little do we know that he's been sitting on a stash this entire time. It's been right there under his little sleeping arrangements. I mean, smart, but like, because who's gonna, like, it's very, very, very smart. They come out of the tent, and this is where the heartbreak starts. Hurley's like, hey, have y'all seen Libby? We were supposed to have a picnic, and I sent her after for some blankets. And we don't even hear it, but we see this like zoom out of Kate just telling him, and him just, no words. Yeah, no words needed. But with that, we get where you guys were bringing up earlier. This is where I'm going to stop. Is we have Eko waking up and seeing Yemi, and Yemi's telling him, "Hey, I need you to go like climb this thing." And we find out that it is not Yemi; it is John Locke that was, or not Yemi. I'm sorry, Eko. That it was Locke that was in Eko's body doing all of these things. Because when he gets to the top, as he climbs up, he sees the wheelchair. So it's kind of crazy. Again, we mentioned in the beginning that the foreshadowing of the limp should have told us that, but it didn't happen. So yeah. And now that left us with Locke waking up in a panic to be like, it wasn't even me, it was you, and I saw your brother. And he's like, great, what did he tell you to do? And he's like, go up there, but like, don't go up there. And Eko's like, I'm going up there. Like, it's happening.
I've been traumatized, don't go up there.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going to stop it for now. So Jake, kick us off.
Yeah, this is, again, watching Eko climb up, but it's actually John Locke is such a weird, interesting way for this scene to play out. And like, you get up there and you see Yemi in a wheelchair. And I mean, first thing I'm thinking is Professor Charles Xavier, to be honest. I'm like, it's just a funny thing to think about when you get up there. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just funny to see John Locke get completely just owned every single time. And just, oh God, it's just so funny. But yeah, I did have a question about, so Ana Lucia, was Michelle Rodriguez scheduled for other projects, or did she I mean,
it's funny you bring this up.
So there's some funny discussion about that.
Yeah.
So the story goes is that Michelle Rodriguez and Libby's character, we're
Cynthia
in Hawaii.
Watros.
Yes, we're in Hawaii having a grand old time partying, and may have had too much to drink and got pulled over for DUIs and got subsequently fired from the job.
So
Oopsie!
that's the very common story. What I have also heard is that Michelle Rodriguez always planned on only being a one season character. So she was only ever going to be on for one season. And then fans didn't really like her. So they were like, oh, we need to kill off somebody else with her to like make this have an emotional impact. Which if you do notice, they go over and check her pulse and she's dead and that's it. She's done.
Yeah.
All the emotional time is with Libby. And so then because she also had the DUI and because she was more likable and she was like attached to Hurley and like because of all that, like in combination, they also wrote her off. That is what I have heard as a more in-depth version of that. Like, yeah, they got DUI, so they fired him. Like,
Basically, the moral of the story is don't drink and drive.
don't drink and drive.
Yeah, that's wow. It's crazy the stories that come out of why characters get killed off now.
But like,
Yeah,
also, like, can you imagine how that not happened? And like, Anna Lucia or Michelle Rodriguez was like, oh, because Jack he didn't want to get into another show either, Matthew Fox, and so, but he fell in love with the script and wanted to continue on. So
Yeah.
To imagine how different the show could have been, and Jake, you haven't figured it out, but this is more for us Losties that have seen it. To think about how the show could have been with Anna Lucia continuing on and Libby.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we'll get to it later, I guess, but Libby, I definitely thought there was going to be more time with her, and I feel like it was almost cut short. Like, I just feel like the story was maybe leading somewhere, and then, oops, it wasn't. So,
don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and drive.
I mean, there's conjecture about whether or not the DUI was like the reason. It's never like come out that is why they. But the timing of it, people were like, "Well, that's a bit fishy." So
It
like,
certainly
who knows,
wasn't.
could
It
have
was
been the
definitely
story, but-
not points in the keep them category. Like it was not. It was not in the good column.
It might have been the final nail in the coffin, if you will. But
oh my god.
Because they died.
Hey, it gave us one hell of a big twist and
it really did, though. It really did.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
I do want to mention in this section as well. I really like. It's funny you mentioned, Jake, about the commonality between this and the Boone episode is because when Shannon is told about Boone's death, they do it the same way that Hurley finds out about Libby being shot. Where you don't actually hear it. It's they pull away and you just have the music. And I think it's such a fun little, not fun, like tragic little like commonality between those two episodes. It really stuck out to me. I was like, that's the exact same thing they did with Boone and Shannon.
But you know what? I almost feel like it's more impactful, more emotional to not see it, just to see the reaction of it instead of hearing what's said, because it's like you know what's being said, so it's like to see it is like, oh yeah,
exactly.
Which we're gonna get to really the cinematography here at the end, because that was like chef's kiss. But yeah, we're gonna get to it. Lost is famous for this. There's so many good stuff.
One little shout out to Terry O'Quinn as well. Can I just say it? When Locke in the dream falls back and hits the ground, we've all had those moments when you kind of wake up because you've had like this weird dream of like falling and that like jolt when you like wake up. It's like he does that so well where it's like, oh shit, and he's up. It's such a good performance of like waking up in that manner.
Yeah. I vividly remember dreams as a kid where I was falling and then you just smack down on the bed and then you jolt up. Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah,
not a fun feeling.
No. Moving on, we get into our next flashback here where Eko is now meeting this drowned girl because he wants to chat with her, but he arrives at the house and is immediately greeted by the wife to be like, not a great time. You need to come back. He's like, well, no, this is part of the investigation. I got to talk to your freaking daughter. And she's like, no, I get that, but it's not a good time, and is interrupted by her husband. And this is the big reveal that, again, all of us on the first time, we all didn't see it coming, but we should have now that we've seen it, like all of us have seen it, that they say Mrs. Malkin, and we know that Malkin was was a psychic, because now here he is. And when I'm talking about the psychic, we're talking about Claire. And I'm going to take a minute because I know we said this during the episode. And I want to talk about this because he mentions that he thinks that this is all about his wife, and they're doing this on him because he makes his living as a psychic and he's a fraud and yada, yada, yada. And so I kind of want to stop here, Jake. I want to get your feelings first. And then I feel like we might go on a little bit of a debate here. But do you think that Malkin is a fraud or not?
I think he is. I mean, he admitted it, right? Like, he's told everybody he's a fraud. I don't know. Like, listen, I think, people believe what they want to believe. And, like, I think maybe there's some truth to what people believe. I think in this case, I don't know. I always find, like, psychics and whatnot kind of weird because I feel like they just kind of find out information, like Malkin says, and just like basically use that information to kind of predict what something like what will happen. So that's kind of my take on psychics, at least. And like, I don't know, I just feel like the fact that he's willing to just admit it, I feel like he's a fraud. So
I'm going to go on a completely opposite of what you're saying. And then I want to see where Michael and Kevin lie. So I personally do not believe that he is a fraud, because we know that even when Charlie was talking to Claire about this, is that he says, I do believe that some people have the gift. Not all of them, but I do believe that some people have the gift. And what if he saw your plane crash that made it that you had to raise the baby? Because as we know that he, like, for months he told her it had to be her, only her, only her. And then it was like, oh, we have this adopted couple. And so we know back from that. So my philosophy is that he tells Eko because he knows that he has to report these things back, that he does not want to be found out as an actual really well-known, like, I know, all-seeing psychic, because he doesn't want all of that on him. And then people starting about, all these things where it could turn out bad for him or good. So I think that he is bringing this up to say, I don't want you to investigate this any further because I am the real deal. I know what I'm talking about, and I don't need that to be out there in the open. So that's where I'm at. So Kevin and Michael, where are you guys at? Where do you lie on the Malkin fraud, not fraud?
I would say I think that my go-to is that I think that he is a fraud. But I could believe that he is the real deal. And there's lots of reasons why he might, go and tell Eko he's a fraud. Maybe he just he wants the investigation to be over. So he just tells him that to like get him to stop, because if then he's doing the investigation, he finds out this person has psychic abilities, that opens up a whole new can of worms. So like, maybe this is just a way to get him to stop the investigation. Like, there's a whole bunch of reasons why he might be like, is it possible that he's a real psychic and he's just saying this to get Eko to leave him alone? That's possible. But I have always been under the, like, in both episodes, I'm under the impression that he's full of shit, personally.
I have a really crazy theory, but I want to get to Michael's first. I have a theory that I've never told anybody, and it's gonna be the first time I've ever told. I haven't even told my best friend about this, so I kind of, this is my first time telling everybody. So Michael, what's your thoughts? And then I want to get to my real theory.
I'm in between both. So in real life, I think psychics are monsters who prey on people's grief to make money, and from people who want answers and think they can find it in psychics. Fuck you, psychics. In the show of Lost, which is a fantasy show where lots of unbelievable things happen, I think Kevin's going to hate this. Kevin's going to hate this bit. I think in Harry Potter, there's a character called Professor Trelawney who teaches divination, and she is a notable fraud. She has no idea what's going on. She's useless. But there is one time where she has a real prophecy and she has a real vision, and it's a very important one. Mm-hmm. I think it's like that, where I think this guy is a total fraud, but when it comes to getting these people to the island, I think he had a real moment with Claire where that was something that came about and was real, and he had to get Claire to the island. And now he's kind of questioning everything that's happened. But I think that one specific time, he actually did get the psychic vision, or whatever you want to call it. And then the rest of the time, he admits, he knows, as all psychics do, that they are full of shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe psychics are real, maybe they're not. I don't know. I'm not one, and that's all I can say. Yeah, I guess that puts me somewhere in the middle too, then, because I just think he is full of shit, but I think it's possible that he's not.
Yeah, and like fiction, it's easier to write psychics because, again, it's a fictional world. You can say whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's horses appearing on the island. There's ghosts on the island. John Locke is having a dream where he is Eko. Like,
there's a giant smoke monster.
There's hatches buried underground. There's a smoke monster chasing them around. People disappear into the woods. Crazy things happen on this island, right? There's
psychic is the least of our worries,
right?
Yeah.
Like, the idea that there's a psychic who maybe knows something, like, you know what? At this point, sure.
Why not?
So, I have a theory, and like I said, I've never brought this up because sometimes, like, especially with Lost, I love that it lets you have like your own interpretation of things. But I've never told anybody this one because it's a little far out there, a little like crazy, and I'm aware of that, which is why I've never brought it up. But I'm
getting my finger ready for the camera button.
Okay. I don't think he's a fraud. I think he saw his daughter going under the water, didn't do anything to stop it because maybe there's something we don't know, because we also know that the wife said she was out by the water, and I don't know, maybe she slipped. She doesn't even know what happened to this girl. So I'm wondering if there's a little bit more shadiness going on by Malkin, and that's another reason why he wants this shut down. And maybe it's like he even brings up that the autopsy mortician was like, he was about to saw her in half. Maybe this was a plan to like extort this guy and like sue him and get some money. I feel like there might have been a little bit more shadiness to Malkin than we are being led on, and this is exactly why he wants to shut down immediately. So that's my theory that I've never said. Yes, I know it's out there, and I know it's a little crazy, but we know that he predicted Claire and all this jazz, so I think that he saw his daughter drowning.
Sure.
We never find out one way or the other. So yeah, why not?
Why not? Also, tell us in the comments, what are your thoughts? Anyway, with that, let's move on. Eko is obviously climbing. He gets to the top. He looks down. He doesn't see anything. He's like, Locke's yelling at him, like, what do you see up there? He's like, there's nothing up here, but turns around, and there's our question mark right there in the ground. And so now he gets back down. Also, I'd love to know how he got back down. Like, is there an elevator? Like, did he jump and like get a parachute? But he gets down there, and they start searching the grounds here. And we find a new hatch. And I also love that they like break. Michael's gonna have a field day with this, but they break this open, and Eko goes to open it up, and Locke's like, "Can I do it?" I'd be like, "No, you didn't even want to come."
No.
In this. But Eko's too nice, and he said, "Sure, John, have at it." So they do open it up. And again, talking about parallels, this is the parallel of Jack and him looking down into the hatch when they open our hatch. Him and Eko look down, which leads us over to, oh gosh, the freaking emotions of this. We see that they are helping Libby. They're giving her this morphine. And we see Michael now standing kind of off to the side. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we hear Hurley begin to talk to him. And he's like, it's my fault. We were going to go on a date, all these things. And Michael's like, what? Oh, okay. Like, I'm sorry, man. And freaking Hurley goes, I'm glad you're okay, man. Oh, the freaking knife to the chest on this right now. Like, Hurley is devastated, but loves Michael so much. I'm so glad you're okay. Oh, fuck you, Michael. There's so many, like, fuck you, Johns and Michaels and all those things in this episode. But very, very emotional moment. But that takes us back to this new hatch that Eko and Locke have now found, full of TV screens, which is like, wow, okay.
What are old TV screens, yeah.
Yeah, what are we doing in here? We turn on all these TVs. A lot of them are static, except for one. And that one just happens to be looking at our hatch, and we see Jack come across the screen. And you begin to start like, what does this mean? What is happening in this hatch? Why are we under surveillance? Who's watching us? Like, what are all these things happening? And two, we get to the point of we find a new orientation film. We get a new orientation, which I love it because we're bringing up this point of where I'm sure this is now where Michael's going to kind of get into this Locke a bit of it all, is that very much so, like when we see the first orientation, Locke's like, I need to watch it again. I need to know everything about this. This is so
He
cool.
was such a giddy little kid. He was
Yeah.
like, everyone, look at my cool video that I found. Everyone watch. Everyone watch.
Yeah, no, and now like Echo's like, do you want to watch that again? He's like, oh no, I'm good.
Well, because his heart just got broken.
Yeah.
His heart just got broken. Maybe he's not the special island boy after all.
But basically, we're looking at kind of this lab rat and observation type of thing. And you see where this is kind of where Locke really has this breakdown. You kind of feel, I will start to side with Michael here, feel bad for Locke in this moment to realize this whole time he's been like, this is our purpose. We're supposed to push the button, and this is why we're here. And I'm like, this island's amazing, and I've looked into the heart of this island, and now basically he's realizing this has been an entire joke, and the joke's on him, and he's basically useless. And I mean, I didn't know he was going to call himself the new Shannon, but here we are. And with that, he's just really starting to have this breakdown of a moment. And I mean, while this breakdown is starting to ensue, and then eventually gets to boil over, is Eko is like, no, you are right. He's packing up these things. He's like, no, I've seen this one. Now I'm really believing it. Like, the first one didn't convince you, Eko. What are we doing? But it's a complete reversal of these two, where Locke becomes the Jack, if you will, in this situation, and now Eko is becoming the Locke, because he is packing up every single thing. He's packing up the notebooks, he's packing up all these things, and Locke is basically like, this is a waste of time. I want to stop here. A lot of information happened in this little section. So Jake, walk us through your first time watching this, and then I know we're going to get into a Eko and Locke debate here.
Yeah, so when they walk in and there's like all the TV screens, I immediately thought of like the TVA from Loki. And so I'm like, they're watching everything play out on the island, and I did catch, Jack walking across. I'm going to get to a theory in a moment of what, I mean, this is evidence. We'll get there in a second, but, and then I see like the mail chute, and I'm just like, okay, so it's like the TVA crossed with like a mail room, and like, it's very unique, looking. So my theory with the surveillance, clearly we're going to get to, okay, both Anna and Libby are gone, but now we can see that Michael can get caught through this surveillance. So obviously this has to be how they're going to find out that Michael did this, because this has to be the way, because otherwise they have no clue of finding out, unless Michael comes clean, but I don't think that's going to happen. So
Interesting theory, which we will not confirm or deny.
You're going to have to wait and find out.
Yeah. But and then the Hurley conversation, just heartbreaking. I want Hurley to find out so we can beat Michael up. Like, honestly, like Hurley deserves to know the truth and to do what he did to Sawyer, like, but worse.
Yes. I mean, not on Sawyer, but yes, that was weird.
If he can take on Sawyer, he can take on Michael. I believe in Hurley.
Hurley is like the like, I don't like so strongly like the emotional core of the show in so many ways. It's just like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, we have all this crazy stuff going on with Locke and Eko, and like the whole like doubt of Michael, and like, is he gonna get caught? And then there's just Hurley just making us all sad, like.
And he doesn't even, there's not even a line. He just like one line. You're like, destroyed.
I know.
Really?
So sad.
And that's like, I mean, we talk all the time about how like the show is incredible for its mysteries, but it really has these little character moments, and they've built all these characters up so well that, just one line from Hurley can just punch you right in the chest. It's like, man, Hurley doesn't deserve this. Anna and Libby didn't deserve this, but we talked about this before we started, whether to bring it up, but this is certainly something that I was very aware of my first time watching. I think it's a fun thing for Jake to look out for. So in the orientation film that we watched, we see the guy that does the orientation films. We saw him in the Swan one as well. In the Swan video, he introduced himself as Marvin Candle. In this video, he introduces himself as Mark Wickman. And when he does the Namaste and good luck, in the first one, he does that because he's only got one arm. And then in this one, he has two arms.
Okay, I did not notice that. oh my god, so this guy's an imposter, like, or something. I mean, he's faking some stuff. So
Yeah.
Like, in the like message board world of like first time watching Lost, this character in these videos was like people obsessed with them and like scrolling. So the whole thing of like we need to watch that again is so prophetic because that's exactly what the audience were doing every time these things popped up, where it was like going through and like there's always these little skips and trying to find out information from them. So
Right.
yeah, they're always fun to watch.
Most definitely. Anything else on this section? Michael, Kevin, you want to bring up this whole Locke and Eko thing, or do we want to wait for the next section of that where they finally do switch roles?
No, I mean, I think here's why I will give Locke shit for this is that this all started. This all started because one person planted one seed, right? Like Henry Gale, who's not actually Henry Gale, said, "I never pushed the button," right? And so, whether or not he actually pushed the button, this has planted a seed in Locke's mind, right? And so, Locke, being the easily manipulable person that he is just like having an entire crisis now, because we see that if he was really this like man of faith as Eko is, like this just reaffirms everything for Eko. Like, yes, actually, that means this is important. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't like the button anymore.
I don't get where Eko gets his confidence that this is important. Like, nothing about this tape says that like our hatch is anything other than an experiment. I don't really know where Eko gets the confidence. Like, no, this is more important than ever. It's like, well, I don't know. The tape suggests otherwise. It just depends which tape you believe, I guess. But this is a whole thing from Locke where he's like questioning everything. Like going back to that line about, a sacrifice there undemanded. From finding the hatch to Boone dying to getting in and finding out there's just a Scottish guy down there to, okay, maybe it is important. There's a button we've got to push. And now finding out this, it's like just this slow unraveling of like, I don't think any of this is important. I think we're just rats in a maze, like he says, without any cheese. I love that line.
I also too went with you, Michael, of like, what about this made Eko go, yep, I'm a believer? Because if you think about this would point to everything that it's not the case, because the only reason why we found this is because of Yemi. And so it's like, oh, Yemi brought me here so that we could all finally stop pushing the button so that we could all see that, so it's, I'm right there with you, Michael, of like, what made this Eko just be like, yes, 100%, I'm on board. This is where we're at. You know what I mean?
What Kevin said about Eko's like man of faith, like Eko is a pure man of faith.
Mm-hmm.
It is like purely that. Whereas Locke is a sad man who is desperately looking for meaning and looking for that and doesn't really believe it in himself. Whereas Eko just believes.
Right.
Locke wants to believe.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between them.
Well, and the other thing that we're going to lead up to is the very next section here. We get our final flashback where we have Eko getting ready to board Oceanic Flight. And we have the daughter coming up. Her name is Charlotte. We have her come up to Eko in the airport. And she brings up Yemi. And he's like, oh, do not bring up my brother. And she's like, he has a message for you. He knows, like, I'm on to you. I know he told me you're not good. You're pretending in this whole front. You're not an actual priest. But Yemi wants you to know that he has faith in you. And I think that this also, like, transpires into this moment with maybe that Eko is like, Yemi led me here. It's basically him saying, I have faith in you, so I need to have faith in what we're doing, and that's what's important. So that's probably another reason why he's led to be like, you know what, this is, yes, 100%, I have more faith in this now than I ever did before. But I thought that was interesting that she brought up that when she was in between places that Yemi did visit her and let her know that he would come to see her in those things. So who's the psychic now, Dad? No, I'm just kidding. With that, this is going to lead us to our ending, which is just, first of all, even Eko, starting this off, Eko and Locke still down in this hatch and talking about the connections, basically. When we've seen so many time again, the connections that just our plane survivors have, of when they saw each other in the airport, or Jack having drinks with Ana Lucia before getting on the flight, or all these connections that we've had. And just even now, Eko met Malkin, who got Claire on the plane. there's so many connections, and it's kind of a life lesson for us in this world too. Like, you never know what those connections are going to lead you to, and like who even know. Like, we bring up all the time with like with Vanquish and how you find these people. Like, who would have known? I wouldn't have known any of you, and here we are doing a Lost podcast right now. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy where like how it kind of transpires into actual real life, you know? And so I think that that's an amazing lesson for people that are, you know, watching Lost or even listening to us, to don't ever, like, just because you're meeting some person that seems like totally random to you doesn't necessarily mean that that's not going to have a connection for your life later on. And I think that that's a beautiful lesson that we get from Eko in this moment. Now to set us all up for tears, we get Hurley asking Jack if he can talk to Libby. Good God, like, this line is really the heart clencher where he's talking to Libby and says, "I'm so sorry, I forgot the blankets." Like, freaking take my heart out, rip it to shreds, because this is what you're doing to me in this moment. But then as I'm sitting there in a massive ball fest, we have Libby wake up, and just like Jake, we're all like, "Oh, come on, Libby, come on, girl, out it, let's go." And she does out Michael, but not in the way that anybody else would take it. I love that Jack, I put on here, Jack didn't listen. I mean, nobody's going to listen to it in that moment. They're all going to think what Jack thought of, like, "Oh no, Michael's okay." But again, here's the moment where let's piece this together. And I feel like if Jack would have like really thought this thoroughly, but we know that Jack's always kind of like in a tunnel vision here, is that at the very beginning of this episode, Michael, when he came out of the hatch, said, "I heard gunshots and came out to find Henry, and he shot me and took off." Meaning that Libby would have already been shot. So she wouldn't have known that Michael got shot because she would have already been shot.
Right.
So Jack was piecing these things together. He would have figured this out, because Michael, you even put, and he's like, Michael did it. She could have just said Michael did it. She shouldn't have had to, because if we piece this together, then we realize that Michael's the person that we should all be looking at right now. But completely understand Jack in this moment. That's the only time you'll ever hear me say these things, but that's where my mind would go to, is like, "No, Libby, it's okay. Like, everybody's fine. Like, you can let go," which she does. She immediately dies right after this, and just Hurley goes into the straight. I mean, the guilt that he has to feel, even though it's like, I mean, good God, it's like he's gonna forever be like, "I can't believe it. All I had to do is bring blankets to the stupid picnic, or tell her we don't need blankets. Let's do the picnic tomorrow," or any of these things. Like, I just can't like imagine poor Hurley like living with this. This is where I want to get into this ending cinematography, that we get this kind of like, she dies and this beautiful music comes over. We talked about the score with Lost all the time, but in this beautiful score, we like are just seeing this aftermath when she dies and Jack closes her eyes and he puts his hand on Hurley's shoulder. Like, "I'm so sorry, man." Like, you don't even need words, but you know all that emotion's going into it. Then you cut to the freaking broken Virgin Mary statue, but then you zoom out of that to Kate bawling her eyes out, to Sawyer coming and grabbing her because he's just as upset. Then you get just, I mean, all of these things that you're leading into, and on top of it, then you're hearing the button start, like the beep, like of the button on top of all this too. You're getting Eko and Locke walking back, you know, they just had this moment. And then we get to this freaking most sinister Michael standing in this dark armory next to Ana Lucia's body that he has just killed. And he has the look on him that is, again, like we've mentioned these like looks of some of these characters before, and it's a very dark look in his face. But we end it right there with that, with the beeping of the button, Michael looking all terrifying, and poor Hurley and the rest of us left devastated. So that is the end of the question mark. Jake, walk us through just this last bit of the ending here.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to lose Libby. Like I said, I really felt like her character had more to the story. Clearly, she might have had more to the story, and then she ended up getting fired, so potentially. So, you know, is what it is. I really thought the end of Dave was setting that up, but didn't happen. And then, yeah, just like the whole scene, just very, very well shot, very heartbreaking. And then, yeah, you get to Michael, and I have expected him to break into like a Joker smile. Like, dude is just, yeah, it's terrifying. And like, I mean, he's gone from this caring dad, this normal construction worker who's doing everything for his son, to now he may do everything for his son, but that includes murder apparently. So it's just crazy. And I definitely expected a message to pop up at the end. Like, I thought that's what was going to end us, but we didn't see one pop up. So that's that's kind of my thoughts there ending. And I don't know at this point where things are going to go. I think it's setting up that like anyone can die anytime. I mean, I feel like Jack and Kate are pretty safe, probably. I mean, you could say probably Hurley and Sawyer and stuff. Like, some of these characters you could probably say are pretty safe at the moment, but like a lot of other people can die at any time at the moment. So it's I think I like that it kind of sets up the stakes.
Protect Rose at all costs.
Yeah.
Lost isn't afraid to punch you in the chest with a big character death for sure. It's funny, we just like the episode did, we kind of glossed over Anna Lucia. It wasn't until you mentioned Michael standing next to her body at the end. I just wanted to mention a really nice moment. I really liked Eko, praying over Anna's body earlier in the episode, and he does the sign of a cross on her and closes her eyes as well. But yeah, Libby dying is just, and again, great performance. Like, she has that like look of pure terror and like agony, and just like, man, when she tries to say Michael in the last moments of her life, realizing like, oh, they don't understand me and I got nothing left. It's like, man, it's brutal. Do you know who should have been there? Saeed would have been like,
I figured it out.
Yeah, I don't know where he was at. I mean, I thought from the recap that we were going to get something from Saeed in this episode, and then he's just gone.
Yeah, he's just living his beach life.
So.
Yeah, I really like the kind of Lost does the little montage ending really well with a twist like Sting, where we come into Michael looking all kinds of serious, and he seems to have got away with it for now, and we'll see where it goes. But yeah,
for now.
Kevin?
No, this was just like, it is one of those times when we as the audience know, like, we know the secret. We know the thing. We know that he actually, and like, it's that last little reminder of like, don't forget, you know the thing that the characters don't know. Like, bah! And then you're screaming at the TV, but of course they can't hear you. So yeah, it was that moment that like, bah, no, don't trust him, don't listen to him, no.
Yeah, no, it's like that ending especially, I think, is a really like beautiful ending, as sad and tragic as it is, because we do have this great message from Eko about the connections that you have in your lifetime, to getting to this like part of like just where Michael, even bringing up like Libby, she all like mustered everything she could to be like, guys, you have to watch out, like he's the bad guy, and then Jack's over there like, oh, he's fine, and she's like, gosh darn it, okay, I guess I'm gonna die now, got nothing else to do. But yeah, no, it's just, I mean, it is a very beautiful yet tragic ending, beautifully tragic, if you will. And so yeah,
listen, she's dying, she's high on heroin, she is just gonna hear the nice message that everyone's okay, and she's gonna be okay with it, and it's fine.
It's fine. But yeah, so that is the end of question marks. Now we have favorite, least favorite, and rankings to get to.
All right. Favorite. I'm gonna go back to Mr. Eko. I really like Eko. Again, getting more backstory to continue off of where we left off, and just like him going on this quest with John Locke, and once again completely on top of John Locke, like just great.
No time for John Locke.
Yeah, just great. So I'll say Eko, and then least favorite, I will go with Michael, just because again, Michael has done something very bad, and so unfortunately can no longer trust the man. So
it's so sad. Michael was so often Jake's favorite character, and now that's two in a row where he's been his least favorite. How the mighty
for good reason, but
yeah.
I I'd like to shout out Kate. Kevin and I often like to shout out like little underrated moments that Kate has that go unseen. But the fact that she doesn't have any like major connection to Anna Lucia or Libby, but to see her so like broken up about it, and we talk about Sawyer's growth and all these other people's growth, like how invested she is in this group and emotionally hit by it as well. I think that's a really sweet moment between her and Sawyer, where like Sawyer comforts her. But yeah, I'm mirroring the exact same as Jake. I think Eko's the best character of the episode. He's just such a fascinating character and such a good actor. I absolutely love him. And then yeah, Michael. Screw you, Michael. I'm embarrassed that we share a name.
That should be your little tagline underneath. I'm embarrassed to share his name.
Next episode.
Yeah.
Next one,
No,
sure.
I mean, same. Obviously, as I was watching it, I was like, that's right. Eko's my favorite because he's just like not taking any bullshit from John Locke, which just makes me so happy. So yeah, Eko's obviously my favorite. I do want to shout out Sawyer too for the character growth that like he knew the thing that Jack was doing. I'm not even going to shout out Jack because it's kind of like a dick thing for Jack to do. Like someone's dying and you're using that moment to like be manipulative. But like shout out to Jack for thinking of it. But like I'm not like this is making me like Jack better. But like this is one of the like little steps of Sawyer of like he was this like jerk who didn't like anybody and like earlier this season was like scamming everybody out of the guns and making everybody look like a fool. And now he's like, yeah, I'm not going to let this person suffer. Like, yes, I don't care. And I think that is growth from Sawyer.
The inhalers as well. Like he didn't have the inhalers, but like he was willing to pretend he had the inhalers to let Shannon suffer. And in like that was one season ago. It's like, yeah,
right, exactly. And then yeah, I mean, least favorite is Michael. I'm just like waiting for him to get caught. Like, please figure this out. Please figure this out and like beat him up. How dare you? I mean, shout out to John Locke for being just terrible, but obviously my least favorite is Michael for this episode. All right, give us whatever crazy thing you're going to give us now because we all said the same thing. So now you got to say something.
No, listen, so obviously I want to make Sawyer my favorite character. No, he is going to get a massive shout out for all the reasons you guys have already mentioned. He does massive growth, but also again, like you mentioned, that was a complete dick move. But he didn't even hesitate. He's just like, "You're an asshole." Like because like old Sawyer would have been like, "I'm gonna kick your ass for even mentioning this right now." But he was like, let's get this girl some meds. Like she needs to be comfortable. And I think that was a really beautiful moment. And then also again, like immediately he didn't care about these people. Remember, he was all about himself. Like those first couple of episodes, like grabbing whatever he could to instantly coming in and comforting Kate. Like, well, I mean, we know why, but I just still pretend it's me. It's fine. But with that, good God, I think this is the first time we've all cleared across the board. Eko favorite and Michael least favorite. So I don't think it's very hard.
You didn't come up with something stupid to argue with us. I'm so proud of you.
Just for you, but this was such a beautiful Eko moment.
I'm so proud. This is character growth. All right, can you be my favorite character of like this episode?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of the growth.
Don't worry, I'll screw it up.
You'll mess it up. You'll mess it up in the spoiler section.
Nobody had to turn off their cameras this episode.
Give it time. All right, rankings.
Michael, where do we stand?
I'll give our season 2 rankings. It's been a little while since we recorded. Like we can't remember where we put 2 for the road, but I'll fix it in the comments. Our season 2 rankings are Lockdown, Orientation, The Other 48 Days, Man of Science, Man of Faith, The Long Con, The 23rd Psalm, The Hunting Party, Dave, Maternity Leave, The Whole Truth, One of Them, Adrift, SOS, Collision, What Kate Did, Abandoned, Everybody Hates Hugo, and Found, Fire and Water. Dumb episode.
This one's hard for me, but I want to hear what you guys have to say and then kind of.
Well, see, I wanted you to do it so we don't influence you, but I mean, I'll kick it off because I know that you guys all have more of a connection to Eko than I really do. I love Eko as a character, but like I know that you guys all really enjoy him. I'm not gonna put this down like low or anything. I'm not gonna be crazy because this is a phenomenal episode. But I don't feel like for me that this is like top tier. Just because we're kind of finalizing everything. We're kind of glossing over everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like we don't really have anything too crazy. This is more of like, for me, a filler episode, if you will. Even in our flashbacks, we're not getting anything too crazy in our flashbacks either. This is kind of just like a glossy episode, as sad as it is, but it's kind of a glossier episode. So I definitely am not going to put it down way down, but I don't necessarily think it's top tier. I would say that this is probably like early teens, maybe for me. I would need to hear that that group in there again, but I feel like that's kind of where I'm leaning.
I would put it similar to like the Adrift section of the list.
Yes.
Like that moment of Michael waking up on the raft, like waking up. I've said a couple of times that is like a haunting memory of him just like coming to, sitting up on the raft, crying at sunrise, heartbreaking. And like similarly, Hurley, heartbreaking. Like Hurley. And it does give us a lot of questions, but not a lot of. So like there is a lot of like, okay, well, so there's a hatch there, and you can watch our hatch from that hatch, and like there's other TVs. So where do those TVs go? Like it gives us a lot of questions without a lot of answers. So like it's not a bottom tier, but I would say it's more of that mid. Like I know what you mean by filler. I wouldn't say filler because filler has too much of a negative connotation for me. But I know what you mean by it. Where like
that's why I changed it to, instead of being filler, like glossy. Like
glossy. It's a middle, like it's a middle journey. It's not a huge start, and it's not a like banger finale. It's like middle of the journey.
Yeah. I think that's probably where I'd put it too. Like it's not like on the level of like Fire and Water. Like it shouldn't go that low, but like I don't think top 10 is where I'd put it. So probably around where you guys are saying.
Yeah, I'd say this is like it's an aftermath episode. We had the big shocking one, and then now this is the continuation of that. And there is some really fun, like we get a lot of new mysteries, we get a new hatch, we get some great new questions. But yeah, I'd say it's in that like that middle ground as well. I'd say maybe just below one of them and just above Adrift. I think I like the introduction of Henry a bit more.
Yes.
I do too.
But yeah. Anywhere around there, I'm fine with.
No, I 100% agree with you. I would say, I mean, Adrift does have, I mean, we have like where I maybe would even put it below Adrift just because the ending of Adrift ending of Adrift is Jin coming out and being
others,
like, others, and you're like, oh shit. So I would maybe put it just under Adrift, but I'd be fine putting it right above it too. Wherever you guys decide.
I'm either right below it or right above Adrift because the Adrift does have that moment, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's a little more intrigue in this than in Adrift for me. Might not have the big shock and reveals, but I was definitely intrigued in what was going on and what was revealed. So
I'd personally go just above. I think 2 character deaths and the hatch stuff. I
don't have enough to fight it. So
right above Adrift.
Cool.
All right, sweet. So that is question mark, and we have 3 episodes left of season 2. We're almost done. So episode 22 coming up next week. I'll let you guys get to your spoiler section though. So subscribe, share, like, comment, do all that good
comment,
stuff.
Subscribe, defend Fire and Water if you want to try. I know something like that episode.
I need all the help I can get.
Yeah, defend John Locke for
definitely
Michael.
don't, because that deserves to be last place.
Yeah. I mean, is someone going to try to defend Michael in the comments? I hope not.
If you want to try to defend Michael, make sure you are talking about this Michael.
Yeah.
This Michael.
Our Michael.
Our British friend, not.
Also,
I've never killed anyone.
Don't spoil anything here.
We hope not. Yeah, I'll let you guys get to the spoilers, and so we will see you all next time for more Lost on the Tribe of Nerds.
Fuck John Locke.
Hello, everyone. Here we are for the Tribe of Nerds After Jake, the spoiler section of the Lost, where we are going to spoil everything that has to do with Lost. So if you've not seen it in its entirety, get out. But
the whole thing through the final episode.
Right. But like, comment,
And the
subscribe on
epilogue,
your way
which
out.
Kristen hasn't seen.
That too. Well, because Jake and I are going to watch it together now at this point.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
I was foreshadowing, which we're going to get to a lot of foreshadowing in the spoiler section of me watching this with Jake later in the life.
Kristen, I don't know where you wanted to start. Can we real quick start with Jake listing the 4 people who he thought would definitely be safe, and it's the 4 people who survived the submarine.
Stop. I can't even discuss the submarine. I'm not prepared for that. Let's just not do it.
He's like, I think...
Yeah, you watched that too recently.
I did. I cannot. I'm still not over it. Also, listen, if Jake is not a blubbering idiot in that freaking episode, I'm disowning him. So it's fine. It's gonna be fine. Also, if you have not left yet, this was your time to go. Like, get out.
Right. If you
like,
weren't
what's a
aware,
submarine?
and you now know there's a submarine,
and people are gonna die on it.
You know, some people are gonna die, but you know, 4 people are not.
But also, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. If you're commenting, make sure it's a spoiler, and like 50 things so Jake has
spoiler,
to see more.
And then...
All right, so question mark. We have a lot of fun spoilers for this. I'm gonna kick it off with Jake literally bringing up that he hopes that Hurley finds out what Michael does or did, and he will. He does find out very quickly, like the next episode or 2.
He doesn't beat him up, but he finds out. Yeah.
He does not beat him up. He basically says a big F you and takes off. Yeah. So that was I love that. Also, Jake, like, he's also like trying to like, here's my theory, and I'm like, you're right, but you're not right. Like,
it's so satisfying when he's not right about some things, though. So,
I know, because he's been so right on other things where I want to punch him in the face.
Yes.
It is an interesting theory, though, that maybe there would have been tapes that caught that, but I mean, no one's been in that hatch for so long. I don't think anything's been recorded. But
do you know what he did? Like, foreshadow correctly is the tape that catches Sawyer when they're working for the Dharma Initiative when he helps Kate because Ben and all that with the thing. So he did. The surveillance cameras do come into play, just not in this situation.
Yeah, for a while.
For a while, not for a while. We also got this new orientation film where we got the Pearl. We're starting to get all of our little Dharma stations. We have the Swan, the Pearl. Now that they're starting to get names. And they mentioned the barracks, which we're gonna see all the barracks and all the great stuff come season 3, which is coming up. So excited.
Oh my gosh, that's so soon.
Yeah. It's like literally the start of season 3. I'm so excited. Cause
that whole thing where like the opening of season 3 where it reveals we're on the island and at the barracks is such a good opening. I can't wait for that.
Well, and like the scene of the plane splitting in half, like it's so good. It's such a good opening. Especially because it like opens with like the book club and like all this like where you're like, what is happening? It's like
and they're so angry at each other. Yes.
Yeah, but it's like the Desmond episode of like this season where you're like, what is happening? Where you're like, just like, this makes zero sense. So yeah, I'm excited.
They managed to pull the same con on us twice because it's exactly the same way. It's like, oh, new character, we're not on the island. Oh, we are on the island.
We are on the island. It's the barracks. But also, can we talk about? I want to like as most recently watching through this with Kason, I still have to say that I think season 2 finale is my favorite, like by far. And I know that like, I just think that this reveal of. Not only was Ben an other, but Ben comes out as like the main other,
the leader of the others.
Yeah, and like they're Hurley. You just took this giant trek for basically nothing other than we want to tell you to like go back and tell everybody this. But we are kidnapping our 3 main characters. It's like the amount of like what the
those 4 are also the 4 who are on the list in the next episode. What was I even thinking?
Yeah, so it's kind of, I just think that this is, it's anyway.
I think season 3 finale is maybe the best of the entire show. I think that's like a perfect one in the whole, like, we have to go back and the flash forward reveal. But yeah, like every finale is so strong. It's so difficult to rank them against each other because every finale is amazing.
No, I agree. And like season 3 is really high up there for me too because of that situation of them kind of like, oh my God, wait, they're like getting, all those things. But like, I don't know, season 2 just like seems so strong because we're like, we got so many reveals, but then we like, it left us with 3 months of being like, why did we just kidnap 3 of our main characters?
We're gonna get Penny.
Yes.
I think back in the 2000s, I think it was season 3. I'll pay attention to them on this rewatch. I think it was season 3 was the one that was like, because of the we have to go back line and how that just sat with you for so long.
Months.
Yeah. I think that was the one that was the most like.
Well, I mean, all of it, and like we say, they're all still like, because like season 1, like they kidnap Walt. It's like,
oh my gosh, we're gonna have to take the boy.
Yeah, I know all the things. Anyway, Lost is really good about that. Anyway, but also I'm gonna be bawling my eyes out next episode because Michael comes up on the beach and freaking Vincent runs towards him. I'm gonna be bawling my eyes out, especially when Vincent.
Next week, I thought we already did that.
No,
yeah,
it's literally the next episode where he comes out on the beach and Vincent runs up to him, and I'm like, oh, you don't run up to him. He's an asshole.
Don't run up to him. He's the worst.
We also have Locke falling in this episode. It is a scene that we're going to see again because we're going to have that be the reveal of how Locke ends up in the wheelchair. But again, these parallels. Jake bringing up this parallel, I never actually thought about it being almost down to the same episode number is kind of crazy. So like, even to have that parallel of him falling and how we watch him fall is like that. You know what I mean? Like of him falling out the window. But yeah, that's kind of crazy.
There's so much foreshadowing with Locke, and even like he's gonna fall down the well and break his leg when he leaves the island.
Yeah,
and then and poor Locke dies.
That poor leg. That leg has been through so much.
My God, it's amazing he can walk. The island
like
magic is strong.
Right, they hate his leg and they poor people with all their concussions. Like,
oh my gosh, lost the concussion. Lost memories.
The last spoiler. This one is gonna be like a long time from now, but we brought up the rats in a maze without cheese. And this is a foreshadowing to Daniel Faraday, which is going to come into a massive piece here in the later seasons 4 and 5 with our time travel, even like into 6 too, like this time travel of it all. And he runs a maze with no cheese because she has to the memory because she's time. Anyway, it's going to get real confusing, and even these two are probably going to have to like explain this whole time travel thing. I've gotten better as I've watched it a million times, but it took a good long time for me to even remotely understand what the hell was happening in Lost, and even still I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's definitely an element of just kind of like let it go and go with it, just like
stop trying to figure it out.
Well, yeah, like I don't know, if you're used to like sci-fi, like I didn't think I was signing up for a sci-fi show when I started this show, but I do like sci-fi things. So like the idea of time travel was not way far out, and I was able to follow that. And like, sure, like I can follow the kind of loosely established rules of this universe, whatever. But if you weren't aware that that's what you were signing up for, that was a big hurdle to have to get over.
Like I said, it took me a good long time, and I'm still even like just very recently watching it with Kaysen. He's like asking all the questions that I asked, and like it asked repeatedly every time I rewatched it to me to finally be like, here's how I can somewhat explain it to you because I actually a little bit know what I'm doing, but I still don't. And then he's like, but why? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
I think they keep it in the best. They do time travel in the best way you can, where it's like whatever happened. So you don't have to like worry too much about like what they're changing. It's just like, well, this always happened, and we're just seeing it in the order that we're seeing it. So yeah, at least they didn't make it too complicated. I guess it was about as easy to understand as time travel gets. But whenever you deal with time travel, it's rough.
I'm still not over the whole fact of like you can die in the 70s because it's actually the present. Like it's still a whole trip for me. So yeah, with that. Any other spoiler stuff that you guys want to bring up from this episode?
I mean, I think we will see Ana Lucia and Libby again in like flashes.
Season 6, they have. I mean, yeah.
Anna turns up a few times. I mean, she turns up to Hurley when Hurley starts seeing dead people in season 5 when he's helping Saeed. So yeah, she is someone that comes
Libby
back.
though. Isn't that a little sad?
Until 6.
I mean, until like the.
Oh no, Libby's going to be in the season 2 finale.
Well, no, I'm talking about like we don't like he doesn't see her as a dead person. Like
yeah.
when somebody comes to him, which is sad. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
Like he's like playing like, well, spoiler because we're in spoiler section. Like I almost had to check myself there for a second. But he's like playing with Eko and like you know what I mean. But like the one person that he absolutely loved, like truly cared about, she doesn't come to him. That's sad.
Yeah, because he got her killed.
Stop it with the freaking blankets. That hurt. That cut deeper than anything else, Michael. Don't you dare say that again.
No. I mean, yes, he has this like he's gonna have this guilt forever, and yes, he did really care about her. But I mean, how long did they know each other? And compared to he becomes a protector of the island, so like his span of time on the island is so great that like it makes sense. It works. I think she should have been there, but it makes sense why she's not.
Anyway. All right. Well, before we get into a whole, because that, when we get closer to that, these spoiler sections are going to get longer. Anyway, moving on. Join us for the next episode, which is where we find out why Michael did all these things. And
oh my gosh, we're going to see Kristen's favorite, like, minor character, Miss Clue.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
The number of times you have mentioned Miss Clue excitedly to me.
No, like not in that aspect. Like I don't get all like crazy. She's not like up there. Okay, like
It's in like 3 episodes.
she's
Right.
she just is one of those that just like
Kristen is super intrigued by Miss Clue.
like what? But like yes, like what? I feel like she was one of these people that's like we didn't need her, but then you brought her to me several times to not do anything, and she's like kind of a bad. Listen, we're no rant needed. We're gonna stop because I'll get off a whole tangent about Miss Clue here. With that, join us for the next one where we're gonna have to explain all the things, and I'm gonna go off my rant about Miss Clue, and then we're gonna get to a finale, which is insane, and it's gonna be great. So, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Okay, bye.
Bye.